Canon Henry Scott Holland. Death is nothing at all. I've only slipped away into the next room. I am I, and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by my own familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way you always used. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no false air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed. Or the little jokes we always enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort, without the ghost of a shadow in it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute, unbroken continuity. What is death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of my mind because I am out of sight? Is that better? I am waiting for you for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. Nothing is past, nothing is lost. One brief moment and all will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again. Aren't they beautiful words? Describe what we all understand. You know, I have done 4 funerals in the last 4 weeks, all for families who would claim to be spiritualists. You know, all struggling with death. Why? Why is it something that we cannot get our head around? Yet, we know every week that we come and we join the two worlds together and we get wonderful messages from our loved ones. We all know that they're safe and they're happy, living another life. Or is it that we can't cope with change? Is that what it is? That when somebody leaves this earth plane, our lives change and we have to redefine what our life is all about and redefine the order of things. So where do we go? What is this new world that we're all going to go to? What do we understand about it? It's interesting that very few messages that come back actually talk about their new life. We get little snippets, but normally our loved ones are so interested in wanting to talk to us and to help us with our earthly life that they describe nothing of their life. Why is that? Is it because we would struggle to understand? You know, we're trapped in an earthly body, aren't we? We're living an earthly life, we're living a material life. To try and understand the concept of eternity, of no time, of a whole different dimension that has no boundaries. How do we get our head around that one? You know, you read in books that when you go to the spirit world, you can create the life that you want. You can create a home if you want a home. You can create a life as you know it. As you all know, my husband's life is rapidly coming to an end. He's been on a very long cancer journey. And he's nearing the end, bit by bit. And the other night, he had a very strange experience where he was more in the next world than he was this. And he described going down the levels and seeing as he went down each level people doing normal things in normal life. And he went on down the levels, and all the time he was holding my hand and just talking me through what he was seeing, but he wasn't there. His eyes were... he was gone. And as he went down the levels, he came back and he said to me, I'm going to be a teacher. So he's been given a glimpse of what is to come. And since that experience has happened, it has changed the way that he looks at the end. He's not frightened anymore. He's seen enough to take that fear away. He's also seen members of his family have appeared. So, what is death? You know, the poem talks about us just walking from one room to another. I've had messages from the platform from people that die very quickly with a heart attack and they're gone. And they've come back and said for a while they didn't realise they'd passed, because it was so quick going from one thing to another. So what do you think the spirit world is about? What's your thoughts? Where do you think you go, and what do you think happens? Let's get a little bit of debate going, and let's have all your thoughts tonight.
Party.
Yes, Jackie, a party. What, the whole of the time, or just when you arrive? You know, as we leave this plane and go to the next, we're sad for the loss. They're celebrating because somebody's come home. What else do you think? Somebody else got a thought. Yes?
In my meditation, I saw my mother after she passed, and she was in a beautiful garden. And she moved on from there after she recognised and healed, as it were. And I saw her later, time later, in a nursery.
Right.
And she loved children and babies, and she was with her sister who passed away, and also that sister's daughter. So they were all together.
All together.
I saw them in meditation.
How lovely.
Yeah, looking after the babies
Looking
as
after
they passed.
as they passed. What else does anybody think the spirit world might be? Thank you, Margaret.
Doing gardening, you know, like my father was a gardener, so I should think he'd be doing that down there.
Because that's what gave him pleasure, was it, on the earth plane? Yeah? And why not? Why not? Yes?
I suppose everyone's going to be doing whatever they made them happy, whatever they have in their
Yeah.
life. Because that's what peace is, that's a higher level where all love. So.
But do you think we stay in that space? Do you think we go and create a world that we like forever or for a while?
I suppose we'll come back whenever we decide we have more lessons to learn.
Because to do that we're not learning, and we know that life is eternal, we know we go on learning, so there must be another side to it. Apart from creating a home that we expect because that's how we are used to living and creating things that we enjoy, there must be another dimension to it. Otherwise, what are we learning in the spirit world to come back and do again? Right, who else has got a thought about what the spirit world might be like? We're all going to go there one day. That is the certainty of this, that we are all going to leave this earthly plane and go into the next world. What else do we think it might be about? Do you think that when you go to the spirit world you will be judged on your earthly life, or do you think you will review your life yourselves and make your own judgment? Yes, because we are the only ones that can judge ourselves. Spirit doesn't judge us. We're on a continual learning process. Yes?
Maybe it's a time of contemplation in a way. When you get there, you
Yeah.
can look upon your own life and think where you went wrong, what you did wrong.
And what you did right. Because there's always a balance. You know. If we look at our earthly life, how many of us can look back and say, actually, we made not a bad job of it? You know, we've all done a lot of good, I'm sure. And I'm sure when you look back in your life, you've helped people. People cross our pathways for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, don't they? But we're part of that process, aren't we? We give that person whatever it is that they need from us. If you think about all the relationships you've had on the earth plane, the different types of relationships you've had, the different needs that you've fulfilled. What else does anybody think the spirit world might be about?
You'd want to come back and see if your children were okay, wouldn't you?
You'd want to pop in every now and again and make sure the world was still ticking along as you know it, wouldn't you? You know, the spirit would come to us normally when we need help. And they come and offer wisdom and guidance. Who's got something else to contribute? And can you speak up for my dear gentleman in the front here, who has done the very good thing and come and sat at the front so that he can hear, but he's still struggling?
Well, I'm awkward.
That's all right.
Too old.
You're never too old.
No, thank you.
You know, to get our head around something that is infinite, that's tough, isn't it? Because we're used to walls, we're used to boundaries in our lives, we're used to all the barriers. Strip them all away.
Is that right that they don't like you to celebrate their passing, only their birthdays and anniversaries?
Well, many times I've had messages from loved ones to pass on that they're happy for it to be celebrated, but they don't like long faces and people feeling sad. You know, for them that have gone on to the next world, they're happy. Us remembering, oh, it's the 14th of whatever and so passed this day and thinking we should be sad, doesn't fit, does it? They're having a ball. We're down here. Why do it? You know, many messages I've had where people regularly go and put flowers on graves and such like. The message from the spirit world has been, buy some flowers and put them in the vase and enjoy them for me. Because I'm not in that hole in the ground. I'm here around you by your side. Who's got another question? Now, we had lots of looking down here. I can see the wheels turning. Don't be afraid to ask anything. Whatever you're thinking, let's have it. I'll get you in a minute. I can see the question there. Who's got another question for me? Don't all dry up, because I'm not starting the clairvoyance until 8:10, so you've had it. Come on, Jackie.
Some mediums get messages from other planets.
I come back to what we were talking about in the beginning, that the spirit world is infinite. I can't think that we can be the only planet in the galaxy that has life on it. Why should we be? You know, what is so unique about Earth that creates human life that cannot be created on another galaxy and another Milky Way somewhere way away from us? Why shouldn't there be? But as for well, we've only got the equipment to see so far, Jackie, haven't we? You know, we've got a spaceship heading for Mars, haven't we, that's going to take God knows how many years to get there. It's all getting just a little bit too far away. And does it matter? But messages from other planets, my question is why? What is the connection between that planet and here that we could even understand the message?
It's the only way they could possibly communicate, isn't it?
Well, I must admit, it's not within my experience, and I would be questioning why they've come and what there is that they can say to us that would enable us to further any knowledge. It's bad enough joining the next world to this world that we do know about, let alone trying to join another world through the spirit world to this world. For what purpose?
Even if you gave a message to the authorities, they wouldn't believe you.
No, the file on UFOs is thick enough as it is, isn't it? Without talking about messages from other planets, I think we really would be struggling with that one. Who's got another question for me? You see, I knew there was a question lurking there. I could see it. Come on, my darling.
If you get a message from somebody and they speak a different language,
Yeah.
okay, how do you understand that language?
Because it works mind to mind. So it's whatever you're thinking, that thought is transferred to the medium. So when I go and work in another country, and it's a different language, and I've got an interpreter that is translating what I'm saying, I'm often connecting another language I'm working through. Now, I might get odd words that are very important to that recipient, and I may well struggle to pronounce it, and I might be able to spell it rather than pronounce it, but that's part of it. But it is a mind-to-mind connection. And this is why mediums can go and work anywhere in the world. As long as they get the interpreter to understand what they're saying, there's not a problem with the message. All right? Who's got another question?
Do you ever have pets, animals, come through to you? And if so...
Frequently. I often go and work Ringwood Church, and there's a lady who comes with a very old greyhound, and always sits in the back of the church there. And one night I was drawn there, but I was drawn more to the dog than the people. And I had this other dog wanting to talk to the dog, but also to these couple. And what had happened was these two dogs were actually brothers. They'd been together all their lives. One lived with one lady, one lived with the other, because they'd been rescued together from a rescue home, and the two ladies, one had taken one dog and one had taken the other dog. But that dog wanted to connect to his brother and to both of them. I've had a beautiful Shire horse that's just stood itself in the front here to connect to a man in the far corner. And I tried everything not to connect with this horse because I thought, you know. But eventually that horse just stood there until my mind would connect with his. And he wanted to go and talk to the guy in the back corner because that was his horse. You know, I can tell you another story where when my little Tibetan terrier was passing, he was very ill and we knew, you know, we were in the last few hours. And I said to my old border collie who was in spirit, come on Skippy, you need to come and get him. And I was just middle of the night kneeling on the floor with my old dog just stroking his head, and I felt the nuzzle of my old dog come under my hand, and I could feel her fur and I could see her eyes, I could see everything, and she let me stroke her for a while and then she just nudged me away. And he passed. She'd come for him. Because I'd had the little Tibetan terrier before she passed. So they knew each other. You know, animals, the power of animal spirit is actually greater than ours because they work on instinct. They work on telepathy. My dog at home understands every word that I say to her. And I've proved that time and time again. She knows what I say to her. And sometimes she'll turn me off as well, if I'm not doing what she wants. You know, animals, the power of animals. I've got a very sick cat at the moment. And that cat is talking. That cat's ready to go. It's going to be a trip to the vet this week, but he's 17. He's had enough. And he's telling me he's had enough. He doesn't want to struggle anymore. You know, animals understand more than we give them credit for.
What do you think about ghosts? Are they sort of spirits that don't want to pass, or they feel they need to stay on Earth to carry out something?
Every human being that passes to the spirit world goes to the spirit world. An essence of them, because we are many facets. So a facet of that person may, for one reason or another, stick around. You know, I've just answered a letter from a lady whose husband, after 2 years, is around at the moment. And she's got quite upset about it, because she says, well, why isn't he getting on with his life in the spirit world? But as I sat with this letter, I realised that actually the reason he's around is because she needs help. And she can't ask for it. You know, they're there for a reason. You know. There's no reason for our loved ones to stick around unless they feel that there's a need for them to be here, because we have a need that they can help fulfill. But it doesn't mean they're not getting on with their life in the spirit world. You know.
Because they can be in the spirit. Spirit people can be anywhere all the time.
Of course they can. Of course they can.
Yes.
You know, we've always said they're only ever a thought away. You send that thought up, and they'll be there.
Yeah. Yes.
How many times have we had messages where somebody has thought of a loved one that may be in spirit 20 years, and the next minute they're here getting a message from them? Because you've drawn that energy to you. You know, there's no... I'm very sceptical about rescue circles and all that side of things. To me, there is absolutely no reason why the spirit doesn't go to the spirit world. There may well be a facet of them left for whatever reason. Hello, yes?
What about angels?
For me, angels are just higher beings. You know, all of us, I feel, every entity that is in the spirit world at some point has touched the earth plane. But they've gone on learning and moving up the levels, and they're closer to the divine spirit. And therefore, they're able to help us more. You know, angels are just beings that have gone on before us and moved up the spheres.
I did a rescue meditation once, and there was 4 angels came down to take this lady up, and she suddenly returned from looking like a dirty old woman, for want of another word. She turned suddenly into a radiant being. She was raised up, and I actually did see that very clearly in the meditation, within circles.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the spirit is able to show us so many things. And meditation is a vehicle that makes it easier for our mind to connect with the spirit mind. Okay, who's got another question for me?
I got one.
That's all right then.
Okay, why isn't there as much physical phenomena nowadays as there was?
I think one of the reasons is the spirit would have done all that. We've got a library full of books about it. Why do they have to do it again? Also, there was a lot of risks involved with physical phenomena. You know, a lot of risks to the medium. And I think it's been proved, it's been done. There's no need to do it again. You know, we have got some wonderful physical mediums, one of which was Spike Milligan, who was, no, not Spike Milligan, what's his name? Thank you. I knew it began with us. Who came and did us a physical séance. And that was phenomenal. We had the trumpets playing, we had all the music. And to experience that was something. But I don't think we will get beyond that now, because also, whilst people are happy to sit in circles, people's lives are very different now. Even the most dedicated person has to have another life apart from sitting in circle. And, you know, to sit every Wednesday at 7 o'clock for 20 years is not going to happen now. Life is much faster for all of us. Life is much different for all of us. You know, if you go back to the time before this phenomena, there wasn't transport, there wasn't television. People did this for entertainment. People came together to sit in circle. There's too many other distractions now, and too many other demands. You know, to get physical phenomena to any standard, you've got to have the right people with the right energies for it to all to gel, for it to all to work. That's a tall order in this modern world. You know, we had a physical circle running here for a while. And they were, I think they started for about 4 years, and they were just starting to get things happening. But one died, one this, that, you know, that's life. And I think that's the biggest problem now. The spirit world don't particularly need us to do it. And none of us have got the time to do it. Because you're sitting for somebody else. And I think actually we all want to sit for ourselves. And there's another problem. You know, we all want to progress in our own rather than sitting to make one person great. There's so much ego around as well. But that's human nature. That's how it is.
What advice would you have for the budding ghost investigator? Because there's a lot of ghost investigation TV shows on now.
Well, it makes good television, doesn't it? You know, going around some spooky castle, making noises. It's every TV soundman's dream, isn't it? But how much of it would ever be reality is another matter. And, you know, half a dozen people camping out in a castle. Why would the spirit world want to bother to come and show you? So that some man can make a TV programme and make money? Why would the spirit world do it? You know, the spirit world are here to help us, to educate us, to take us forward. I don't think they're going to waste their time with a film crew and want to make good television making spooky noises everywhere. Why do it? You know, there are buildings where terrible things have happened and that energy is within the walls. You know, everything has energy, be it a brick, a lump of concrete, a pane of glass. It's all energy, and that energy can absorb whatever. You know, those of us who are very sensitive can walk in to a church, as I do. I serve many churches. You walk in, you'll soon know if the committee's up the creek. You can walk in the door and feel it. Nobody has to say anything. You don't have to be greeted by anybody. It's within the fabric of the building. You know, this is why we should always have good harmony with everybody, especially where we're asking the spirit to come and join us. You know, we're all part of the brotherhood of man. And there's many church committees up and down the country that need to remember that. But I think it's the nature of committees, whatever the committee may be. Let's see where we can go. Come on. You'll have to excuse me. I've been up. I was up until 4 o'clock this morning at the hospital. So, but I usually work better when I'm tired. So, come on. Where are we off to? Where am I going? Where do you want me to go? Can I come to the lady in the corner? Can I hear your voice, sweetheart? I've got a gentleman who's coming very close to you at the moment. I feel I'm on a father link. Is father in spirit or is this granddad? Because I've got very much a fatherly feel about this gentleman. Okay, but if this gentleman would have been very much around you when you were small, and you would have spent a lot of time with him. All right, because I know that there was a very close link between your granddad and you. Apple of his eye, he tells me. You were special to him. Very special. Your granddad, although he could be strict if he needed to be, he was a bit of a softie, wasn't he? He's telling me that where Grandma would say no, he would say yes. And there was a little secret between you two. Oh, don't tell Grandma, here you are, here's some sweets. But don't make sure you eat your dinner. Because that was always the sort of tale of Grandma. No, you can't have sweets till you've had your tea. But such a lovely gentleman. A gentleman who would have had quite a hard life, I want to say. He would have worked very hard for what he achieved. But I want to say he ended his life at a better station than he started his life. He would have had very humble beginnings, I want to say. And yet he was able to work his way up and create a nice life for himself. And as I'm saying that, would you understand that just at the moment you're looking for a new direction? Grandad is saying, will you not limit yourself? You keep having ideas and then you keep putting the blocks in the way. And you're getting very good at it and he's getting very tired of it. He's saying, aim for the stars. Because at least you might get 3/4 of the way then. All right? There's a change of job for you, he tells me. And it will be all right. He's just telling me part of your problem is you lack confidence in yourself. And that's... When you were a child, he tells me that you would always be centre stage. And he's saying, what's changed? All right? Get that light out from under the bushel, he says. You can achieve everything you want to achieve. But just know that Grandad's love is very much around you and very much supporting you at the moment. And just as I'm trying to leave you, would you understand a ring connected to a lady in the spirit world that either you have or your mum has? Yeah. All right, because she's just... Come on, sweetheart. She's just coming forward now. There's an anniversary connected to her coming just up next couple of weeks. Ask your mum. All right, because it's the next couple of weeks. She's just come in just to say hello. She said Grandad's done all the talking, but she couldn't let me go without just saying I'm here. All right, and would you understand old-fashioned Yardley scented soaps? Because that's what I've got to give you. All right. This is your grandma, because she was listening to me as I was describing Grandad. She says, was I really that strict? She didn't mean to be, because she had a heart of gold, your grandma. You know, she'd have given you anything you wanted, really. Just so much love there for you, my darling. All right, and I'm just happy to leave their love there. Can I come to the lady on the end there? Can I hear your voice, sweetheart? Yes?
Yes.
Would you understand a gentleman who, on a love link in the spirit world connected to you? Husband, boyfriend? Come on, sweetheart. I'm just sensing him at the moment. I'm not seeing him, but I'm just trying to draw him very near to me. This gentleman has been in the spirit world a little while, a few years. And I want to say that he went very quickly to spirit when he went. There was no time to say goodbye. He was here 1 minute, gone the next. And he's just very much coming around you at the moment. He's just said, well, it is Valentine's Day this week, so I thought I'd better put in an appearance. Wicked sense of humour, this gentleman. Always had one-liners for every occasion. A gentleman who would have lit up the room. Couldn't ignore this gentleman. This gentleman was always, had to be, you knew he was there. And he's just coming very much around you at the moment. He's saying just the last few weeks you've been very low. He tells me you've not been very well, and it's all just been a bit of a struggle. He just wants to come and lift you up and carry you forward. He tells me you've been thinking about a holiday and you keep putting it off, but he says you need that break. He's saying there's somewhere in your head that you've been meaning to go for several years. Will you make it this year that you go? All right? Okay, sweetheart. As I say, I'm not seeing him, I'm just sensing him, so I can't describe him to you. I've just got this feeling of love coming to you, and I've just got this feeling of such warmth for you. And he just wants to come and take care of you, as he would have done when he was on the earth plane. He just wants to wrap you up in cotton wool at the moment and make you safe. You understand that? It's just the way he is. There's so much love there for him. And as I'm aware of him, I'm also aware of a lady who would have been very close to you on a friendship link. This lady, she tells me she's been in spirit about 4 or 5 years. This lady you knew when you were in your 20s. And there would have been young children. You're struggling. Hold on. If I take you back about 20 years, there was a lady you were very close to who had 2 little ones. A lady you lost contact with. Life went on in different directions. Would you understand that this was not round here, this was somewhere else, and I want to go east of here? Come on, darling. Why have I got to talk about Essex? Is this where this lady went to? Because I know she would have been around you and then she moved away. And she had 2 little children. Can I leave you to think about this lady? I'm going back 20 years, I know. At least 20 years for this lady. And this lady has been in the spirit world 4 or 5 years, but you may not be aware of that. But this is somebody you knew at that time with 2 little ones. There was something you were both involved in. It wasn't work, but there was something you were both involved in. This is how you knew her. Come on, sweetheart. Where do I go for books around you? She's showing me a hall and there's a row of books on one side. Can I leave you to think about this? Because she's not going to go away, but I can see you're struggling to place her. But I know that she was a lady who had 2 little children and then she moved away. And for a little while in your life, you were very close. You helped her with a problem, she tells me. I'm going to leave you to think about that. Too many people cross our lives for us to sit here in one evening, remember. This is when you're going to have to think about. I've also got a very elderly lady that's wanting to come and talk to you, and I feel I've got a grandma link. But I've got a lady who would have wore slippers that were too big for her feet. But she could get them on and off easier. She's showing me slippers that were at least 1 size too big for, if not 2. But because she couldn't bend down to put them on, it was easy to have slippers that were bigger. She walked for a while with a Zimmer frame towards the end. You're not understanding this, are you?
What might have been my mum?
I've got a lady, she's not very tall, she's quite round of the build,
No, she wasn't.
and she's got a Zimmer frame.
She did have a walking frame, but she wasn't rounded at all. She did have slightly bigger shoes and slippers.
Well, this is what I've got, because I've got her with a Zimmer and I've got her with these bigger slippers, because there was a continual debate about these big slippers and falling over, but this is what she could actually get on her feet.
I don't recall having a debate about it, but
There's something about, you know, you're going to trip, but she never did. This lady, she's just coming around you today because she's saying to me that there's something you're wrestling with at the moment.
yeah,
You really don't know which way to go for the best.
yeah.
Your mum is just saying, will you just let some time pass? Because time will show you the way forward. All right, other things have to happen and then it will become much clearer which way to go. She's telling me you're feeling pressured at the moment to make a decision. Don't be. A bit of time won't hurt anything. Your mum had infinite patience, didn't she?
Yeah.
She could wait for everything, and that was fine. But you're not like that. Because she's just telling me about this. But she's just saying this is one of those things where you just have to wait. Your mum loved the spring, didn't she? All the spring flowers, because she showed me the tulips and the daffodils and things. You know, that was her time of the year. It's as if she got through the winter, and once the daffodils came up, it was like a weight was off her and she felt she could get on again. And as I say that, will you look forward to the spring? Because for you, life will be much easier. She's just sort of like putting things into place. So I feel your mum is very much trying to help at the moment to just smooth the pathway, so that you can see which way to go. But things will settle down for you. Because as I'm looking, she's just laid out a perfectly smooth road for me. So just get over this bit. Your mum would have liked to wear blue as well, she tells me.
No, she wasn't a blue wearer.
You're the blue wearer. That's all right then. Because I know I needed to talk about the blue. And who's the lady in your family that would have been very much into tweed? And I feel she didn't live round here. She would have lived up north where it was colder. But I've got a lady who would have been very down-to-earth lady, very much wearing clothes because they were comfortable and practical. She was not a lady who particularly needed to have a wardrobe full of clothes. A very down-to-earth lady, very hard-working lady. I feel I'm on an art connection with you. Would you understand that?
Do you have an artist that...
Because I've got a lady who, she lived a very down-to-earth life. She would have been very practical in the way she lived her life. She would have been very able to do anything she chose to with her hands. Very independent lady. And I've got this independence that I need to talk to you about. All right, there's something about not being afraid to be independent. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, as long as it's all making sense, then I'm happy, because they find ways and means of getting their message across. But just know that Mum's very much around you at the moment and very much trying to help you. All right, but so much love there for you, and I'm happy to leave her love there. Sorry we switched there, but that's how it is sometimes. Right, where am I off to next? I'm coming to the lady in red. Yes, you've just turned round. Don't know why, but I've just felt the energy come there. Are you studying at the moment? Right, I've got a lady talking to me about new learning for you. Would you understand that? Right, okay, don't worry about it. We will find out what this is all about. I've got a lady who is going to do the talking, but I've got a gentleman with her. So I've got a couple, and I know that I'm on mum's side of the family with this couple. This is not grandma, but this is a couple. I feel I've got auntie and uncle, or a great auntie and uncle. Would you understand that in spirit? I've got very much a Darby and Joan couple, a couple who would have been very close together, and they would have known you when you were small. This couple would have gone on caravan holidays, so they would have had a caravan. I've got this Darby and Joan couple. They're showing me a caravan. They would have toured England with it periodically. A very down-to-earth couple. And they link somewhere to your mum's side of the family.
Sorry.
That's all right. They're not wrong. It's often either I'm wrong in where I am there, or you're wrong in your memory. But they're always right. So it's just, which is it? It's me that's getting it wrong, not them. I've got a very tall gentleman showing himself. I am definitely with the lady in red. I've got a very tall gentleman who wants to come around you. And I feel I'm on family with this gentleman, but I haven't got dad. I've got a gentleman who would have been very practical. He could have been an engineer or a mechanic, but he would have worked with his hands. He would have had an engineering background. Do you understand who this gentleman is? This gentleman would have been very practical in his thinking. And would you understand at the moment, there's something around you at the moment where you need to take a step back and relook at something? There's something within your life at the moment that you're at a bit of a crossroads about. You want change, but you don't know how to achieve it. You working? But where you're working is not leading you anywhere, is it?
To a certain extent,
No. And this thought keeps crossing your mind, doesn't it? Periodically. I could be doing this job for the rest of my life, and I don't want to be doing that. Yes? Right, so you see, I know they're right, it's just me that has to work to get this right. You've had thoughts about doing something else, fleetingly. Comes into your mind, you put it out of your mind again. And a few more months goes along, and it comes back into your mind, you push it out again. Right? Will you re-examine that and think about the changes you want in your life? Because this gentleman is just telling me that you are capable of a lot more than you're doing, and you know that. But it's going to involve a bit of studying, and you're not sure about that. But there's so much encouragement from the spirit world for you to examine it a little bit further. All right? You see, we get there in the end. But by God, I have to work for it, don't I? All right, but just that's why they've come tonight. You've obviously had this thought in the last couple of weeks and pushed it away again. And they've thought, oh no, not again. We're not having this. Think about it. Think about where you want. This gentleman has just said to me, think about where you want to be 5 years from now and start putting the building blocks in front of you. All right? But I'm happy to leave his love there. This little Darby and Joan couple, I'm coming back to with their caravan. Where does this fit there? Because I've still got it and they're still here. You didn't understand it. You don't understand it. Do you understand it? I've got a couple who are Darby and Joan. They're both in the spirit, and they've got a caravan, and they travelled all the time. But you would understand one in spirit and one here. All right, let me just see where this takes, because as I'm talking here, I want to talk to you, so let's just see where this goes. They are working very funny tonight, so... would you understand building work at the moment around you? Yeah. Right, I am in the right place, that's okay then. And you would understand a couple that would have enjoyed caravan holidays. And that would have been very much a big part of their life. Right. And as I'm linking there, I've got a lady who is just talking to me. She's just saying to me about getting pleasure out of the smaller things in life. Do you know what she's on about? Otherwise I will go and explore this a bit further with her. Thinking about the way that this lady would have lived her life and the caravan holidays and the easy way of living that they enjoyed. What is it about your life that you need to change? This is cryptic. But there is something they are trying to draw your attention to around your life at the moment. All right. Come on, sweetheart. If I said to you that there is somebody around you who is much more materialistic than you are, would you understand that? Who always has to keep having the next thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right. See, we will get there in the end. This annoys you, I'm told. Because they're never satisfied. They always want the next thing. And this lady is just coming in to say, will you try and steer things in a different direction? There is a reason not to be... Okay, sweetheart. There's a reason to be saving the pennies at the moment. Do you understand that?
Yes, maybe.
All right. Well, this is what this lady has come to say. Channel in a different direction. Make the most out of the simpler things of life. As this couple did. God, it's cryptic tonight, isn't it? But does that make total sense to you?
I think so, yes. I think
Good. I'm glad it does, because I've worked hard tonight for that one. I've also got to talk... Where have you felled a tree? Does that make sense?
Well, recently.
Well, I've got it talking about felling a tree. If you haven't, then will you go and have a look at the trees in your garden and make sure there isn't one about to topple over with all this wind? Because that's what she's talking about. And if you haven't felled a tree, then I think you need to go and just make sure they're firmly in the ground. You can tell me next week. Well, you know, there is just something I've got to talk about felling a tree. God, they don't half have come up with some things, don't they? If I take you back to when you were small, you went through several changes of school in quick succession. Well, then where is it around you where there is somebody who would have, when they were small, changed school very rapidly? And I'm in the family somewhere. Come from different parts of the country at different times. I feel she might have had a service background. Dad might have been in the forces. But there is something that made the family move around. And that lady is just coming to be remembered to you tonight. All right. Would you understand a school play that you were in?
I was in the school play.
Right. Well, this girl was also in the school play. Now that's got you thinking, hasn't it, tonight? But this lady, she just wanted to just come in and remind you of those times and just say hello to you tonight, all right? And I'm just happy to leave her love there. Right, where are we off to? Can I come and talk to you in the front?
Thank you.
As I'm linking there, would you understand a lady who would have come or would have connections to Colorado? And I don't even know where Colorado is, but there we are. I know it's in the States somewhere.
I don't know anyone that I can think of.
And you can't make a connection with Colorado? And you're not about to go on holiday to Colorado, are you?
No.
No, I didn't think so. So why? Come on.
We had some Americans stay in our home, but I don't think Colorado seems to be playing. But it might have done. And that was many years back.
Come on, sweetheart. I've got a lady, and she's not very tall, because she's not as tall as me. Dark hair, quite a petite figure, and a lady who would, she had a very quiet voice. And that was how she naturally spoke, just very quietly. Do you understand this lady?
With the American accent, do you mean, or
Possibly. But I've got this little lady, and I've got dark hair, and I've got a very quiet voice. A very petite lady. I've got a lady who's been in the spirit world probably, or at least 15 years and maybe 20 years. And a lady who would have suffered a great deal for the last 2 years of her life, she tells me. She had one thing after another. It was like the last 2 years of her life, she might just well have written off because she was just ill for the whole of the 2 years. First one thing, then another, then another.
I can't face her at the moment, to be honest.
Would you understand a link with a bed and breakfast establishment?
My mum practices bed and breakfast.
Right. Well, that's what this lady's just given me, so this may well be a lady that connects to that time. All right, because I've got this very little lady, and that's what she gave me. And I feel she would have been a lady. She was a creature of habit, this lady. So this lady could well have had her week, she came every year. Because that was the nature of this type, this lady.
There were people like that.
Right, well, I think that's where you need to think to place this lady, just by what she's sort of, you know, she's a lady who liked routine. She's a lady who didn't like her routine upset. That's what she did. And this lady would have been around when you were quite small.
That would have been at that.
All right, and this lady would have, she would always brought you a little present. It needn't have been very expensive, but there was always a little present for you when she came. All right, and it's as if you picked up that friendship every time she came. This lady liked to walk. You know, she liked the countryside and she liked to get out and see things. And I feel you may well have gone along with her at times.
That might have been possible.
All right, because there is a very close bond between you and her. More than I would have expected for somebody who just visited. You know, so there was a connection there. But I'm going back to when you were quite small. Just around you at the moment, there's a lot of upheaval, she tells me. Are you just trying to move rooms around or decorate or clear out? But I'm talking about sort of within the home. That's the feeling I've got here. And there is a need to do a lot of clearing out, I'm told.
There is a need to clear out.
Is this a recurring theme that I really must find time to clear that cupboard out? I really must...
And the loft, and the shed, and the gas.
Right, okay. Because she's obviously heard you muttering about all this, and is just coming and mentioning it to you. She's laughing. Because she just tells me you're as much of a hoarder as he is, really. This lady wasn't a hoarder. No, she was a lady who... She would have travelled very light. She would have turned up with a small suitcase and be staying 3 weeks. Because she didn't need a lot. Very practical lady. And as I'm saying that, there's something that you need to be very practical about at the moment. Do you understand this?
I'm sure you'll understand.
There's something around your life at the moment that is a bit of a muddle. And you need to take a step back from and take one step at a time.
I'm very busy usually.
Right, hang on. There's something about paperwork and a muddle. Does that make sense? Good. That's all right, then. We'll get there in the end. But will you sort this muddle out? She's now just put a whole pile of papers in front of me.
You know, dishevelled like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
This lady would have had a place for everything. You've just recently been looking for a piece of paper, and it's got a vital phone number on it and a vital address, and you can't find it for love nor money at the moment. Well, will you look in that pile?
Thank you. I will.
Because that's where it is.
Thank you.
She wants to laugh with you tonight. She's obviously been round you in the last few days, and she's heard you muttering about the various problems there are, about all this, about this, about this, about this, and she's just coming back and just telling you all about it. Just to say to you, I've been there, I know what's been going on, but just know that she's very much wanting to be around you at the moment. I'm very much wanting to... She said if she was down here, she'd help you sort the muddle out. All she can do is come and nudge you to do it.
You're welcome.
But just know that she wants to just draw close to you today and just come and share a little bit of time with you. And I'm happy to leave her love there with you. Jackie, can I come and talk to you?
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
I've got a very elegant lady who would have liked clothes. A lady who would have had a lot of clothes. And I mean wardrobes full of clothes. She was a lady who found it very difficult to throw anything away. Clothing, there would be clothes that she wore when she was 20 that were still in the wardrobe when she was 60. Because actually she could still get in them just. So a lady who looked after her figure very well. I feel I'm on family with this, but I haven't got your mum. I feel I've got an aunt or something to the side, mum's side of the family. Would you understand this? I've got a lady not only who would have liked the clothes, she would have liked the theatre, she would have liked film, she would have liked all the glamorous side of life. She would have done her best to live up to that glamour. This lady would never have stepped out of the house without her makeup on and her clothes right, even if she was only going to the corner shop for a pint of milk. That was the way she was. Have you just been throwing out clothes? Because it's like she wanted to pick them up and put them in the wardrobe again as you were throwing them out. She couldn't bear to see you throwing them out.
I think I put a lot of them back in the suitcase.
Well, she's obviously been around as you were doing all this.
Didn't give a lot away.
This lady would have liked costume jewellery, and she would have had there are again boxes of it.
Yes.
And who is it in your family that used to make jewellery? Was this her or somebody else? Because I know that there's a link there for somebody who used to make jewellery.
My daughter makes jewellery. I'm not sure.
But there's a link with somebody in the spirit world that also made jewellery.
I'm not sure about.
Okay.
My mother-in-law loved jewellery.
Okay. Well, just as I'm talking about that, there is a whole box full of jewellery that you have to sort out.
Yes, there is.
Will you just be aware that it's not all costume jewellery?
Oh, yes.
Go through it carefully. Because it's all muddled in together. Don't throw anything out that's valuable. Have a good look.
Thank you very much.
But this lady's obviously been around you as you've been having a bit of a sort out this last 2 or 3 weeks. Because she's saying to me, you've been trying to have a clear out, but you're not really succeeding, are you?
Not terribly. But a little bit.
Because she's watching you and knows that if she was in your shoes, she'd be having the same problem. Only she'd throw even less away than you're managing to do. Because she just wants to come and share that with you tonight.
Throw books away. I can't bear to part with that. Take it back out.
But you are this lady's daughter. You know, that's how she was, that's how you are. Where do I go in the family for another lady on the earth plane who is very much like you and got lots of stuff and can't clear it out?
My daughter.
Right. Because I knew there was somebody else exactly the same I needed to talk about.
Wardrobe just full of shoes.
And none of them fit, I expect. None of them are comfortable. Just know that this lady is very much around you at the moment, very much just trying to enjoy your company as much as anything. And just wanting to encourage you. And as I'm saying that, there's a thought within you to do something new, something different. And this lady's just saying, look, let it be more than just a thought. Because the thought is worth exploring. Does that make sense? Good. But just know that this lady's love is very much around you at the moment and very much wanting to encourage you. And there's a decision to be made, she tells me, that is being put to one side. But it really needs to be made. She's just saying to me, it doesn't matter what the decision is as long as you make it. Because it's holding you back. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to decide whether to write a letter or not.
If the thought is there, it's there for a reason, isn't it? But maybe it's about the words. As I'm just talking to you, she's just saying to me, take a step back and make sure it's being written for the right reason. Does that make sense? And does that help? Good. All right. Just happy to leave her love there, and I hope that she's been of some help to you tonight. Because they all come for a reason. Where am I going? Betty, I'm coming to you. I've got a lady who would have been shorter than you and very much like you, in as much as very practical lady, very much a doer. I feel this is a lady that you would have known for many years, but not here, more likely in South Africa.
Oh, I think I know.
All right, this lady you would have been very close to, you would have done a lot of things together, and you were two peas in a pod. You understood one another exactly. And she's just very much wanting to come around you tonight. There's been something you've been struggling with this week.
Yes, there is.
Because she wishes she was here to help you.
Oh.
All right, you've been trying to do something practical, she tells me.
Yes,
And it's a bit of a struggle.
it's a bit of a struggle at the moment.
She's saying, but you don't ask for help. She's saying for once you need help. And will you ask for it? But you know that.
I do.
Just go and knock on somebody's door and ask for help. And help will come running. All right, it's there for you. You just have to allow them to help you. All right, and that's what she's come to say tonight. That's all she's come to say tonight, because she's been with you all week, watching you struggle and thinking, why is she doing that? There's help there. All right, and I'm just happy to leave her love there and know that she's pricked your conscience and you're going to knock on that door and get some help. All right? Because whatever it is, you need a bit more muscle than you've got.
Yes, that's true.
All right, I'm just happy to leave her love there. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the evening. I told you I always work better when I'm tired. Lovely to have your company tonight, and I will see you all very soon. So good night to you all.